Blender video tutorial. I'm going to show you how to remove what's called double geometry. So I'm going to take this cube here, I'm going to tab into edit mode, A to deselect all, and I'm going to go ahead and come down here and switch to face mode. And I'm going to start off by selecting this face here, right mouse click, and I'm going to press E to extrude, and then I'm going to left mouse click again. And so you can see that now, since I'm in face mode, you'll see these little dots going all the way around on the edges. You can't have a face on an edge like that. That means that you have double geometry. That means that you have vertices, edges, faces stacked and sitting on top of other geometry. And you can see it's actually right here. But beginning modelers oftentimes forget that they've done it. They don't see it. I'll show you something even worse. If I switch to vertex mode, you can't see any evidence of double geometry. If you're in edge mode, you can't see it. Okay, so let's say I go ahead and I'm in vertex mode and I want to extrude this up. And I remember I've already done one extrude. So let's say I shift right click and I select these four verts, and I now press E to extrude and I go upward. Okay, it looks good, but there's mistakes involved. If I go back to face mode, you'll see that I have an extrusion here, but I also have an extrusion, an earlier one, sitting down there with those little dots. So that's problematic. And I'll show you how to get rid of that in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and do some other mistakes that a lot of beginners make. I'm going to select this side face, and I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to just bring it out a little tiny bit. Okay, it looks, you can see it's just a little tiny bit. Bring it back in just a bit. Okay, and I'll go ahead and do that with this one as well. Maybe make that one come out a little bit more. And I'll do one more extrusion up here at the top. I'll do E, left mouse click. Okay, so this object has definite problems. And if I keep extruding on top of these problems, it's going to come back in the game engine later, or anything I do for that matter, and cause a problem. Alright, so there's two ways of removing doubles that I find works quite well. You're going to want this toolbar over here on the left. If you don't see it, press T to make it pop up, and change the width so that you can read all of the buttons over here. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to press A a couple times so that you have your whole object selected. The first and easiest way is to then press W for the specials menu, and then come down here where it says remove doubles. And what you're going to look for is that you'll see up here at the top, before you press remove doubles, it tells you how many vertices, how many edges, and how many faces you have. And what those numbers mean is it tells me right now it says verts 0 of 28. And so that means I have 0 selected of 28 total. Edges 0 of 52 and faces 0 of 26. Well, that's too many. So I have extra geometry in here. Alright, so I'm going to press A to select all. I'm going to press W and I'm going to choose remove doubles. And you'll see that up here, it might be tough to notice in the screencast, but it just said removed 8 vertices. So I know that it got rid of some. And you'll see that it got rid of the faces that were right on the edges here. So it cleaned those up. What it didn't clean up was it didn't clean up these extrusions because they're further out. They're a little further extruded out. And so it can't work that way. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is the second way to clean this up is I'm going to select all, and I'm going to come over here, and you want to make sure there are some tabs over here on the left. Tools, Create, etc. You want to make sure you're on the first tab, which is called Tools. You're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom until you find this category here called Remove, and you'll see Remove Doubles is down here at the bottom. And the reason why this is different than what we just did on the Specials menu is that when you click this, down here at the bottom you'll see an extra option. So when we click Remove Doubles, you'll now notice that there's something called Merge Distance, and right now it's set to 0. And so if I click on this little arrow here to increase the distance, watch what happens to these over here. So I'll do one click, 2, 3, and you can see on the third click on mine it sort of fused and glued and merged those together. Now if I keep going, eventually, there we go. You can see that it grabbed it. Now, the problem with doing this is that it's increasing the merge distance. I did 0.06 and it got it, but it also kind of moved this vertex right here, and so it generally changed the shape. You can see it's not straight. It came out a little bit. So while that's nice and it did clean it up, it did change the overall shape of my object. The danger in using this is that if you increase the merge distance too much, you might change the overall look and shape of your object. So just be mindful of that. Now to fix that, I could just go in, select that vertex, grab it and move it in, and just fix it manually. And I think that's a pretty good solution for this. So that's basically how you remove doubles. Two ways of doing it, just to make sure that you are thorough. There are many other ways to add to cleanup and repair on a model, but for right now, these are the basics. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.